Welcome to the Connect Your Health to Life coaching podcast. I'm your host, Seth Lusk. I'm a master certified life coach and published author with a decade-long background working in the health, wellness, and fitness industry as a personal trainer, nutrition specialist, and life coach. If you're anything like me or the clients that I work with, then you might be struggling with some confidence issues or struggling with feeling like you're not living your most fulfilling or authentic life. You may be trying to figure out why you have these amazing desires for what your most fulfilling life would look like, but you can't seem to create consistent action in your life to reflect those desires. So join me as we dive in deep on what it means to truly live a fulfilled and authentic life from the inside out. We're going to look from the perspective of an empowered mindset and uncover some of the reasons why you might be what's holding yourself back from living that most fulfilling life. But don't worry, this isn't about blame, guilt, or shame. This is about empowering you to see. I'm going to break through some of the biggest illusions and myths that we've all been taught to believe along the way. And I'm so excited to have you with me on this journey. So my only question for you is, are you ready to start living your most fulfilling life once and for all? Then let's get started, shall we? Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. For those of you listening in for your first time, welcome. You picked a very prevalent episode to listen in on this week. I would say it's rather important for most of us to understand and really open ourselves up to looking at and having a deeper understanding of, in this day and age, we're talking about busyness. And I think for the majority of us, this is something that is probably affecting your life if you're listening. I know very few people in the world today that busyness isn't something that they are currently dealing with or haven't been dealing with or won't be dealing with in the future if it's not something that they sort of start taking a look at now and deciding for themselves what they want to believe surrounding our social programming and how it affects our perception of this busyness. So today, I just want to talk with you all today. It's not going to be one of these episodes where I'm going to give you a how-to. There isn't a how-to for everybody. Everyone's own journey into understanding this is going to be slightly different depending on where you're coming from with this and how you're affected by it in your life. And so this is not a how-to. This episode is about bringing awareness. This episode is about wanting you all to take an honest evaluation of busyness in your life and how it might be impacting you and what you want to do about it in the future. And I'm here for anyone who wants to do something about it from here on out. But today, let's open up this conversation. Let's start off with looking at what is busyness? What is this busyness that we all talk about when we say, oh, I'm so busy. My life is so busy. The definition of busyness is the state or condition of having a great deal to do. It's the state of having a lot of activity, the state of being involved in a lot of activities, the state of not being idle. And why I emphasize that is because later we're going to talk about how it is that our current culture is actually demonizing idleness and why we might want to take a look at that and reconsider our perception of idleness and what it truly means. So, busyness is basically living in a constant state of something that we've either planned to do or that we feel like we're reacting to because we have to do it. But what is busyness really? You see, so many of us talk about busyness, and we can kind of come from two different camps, or for a lot of people, it's kind of a combination of the two camps. We have the one camp of busyness where they wear it like this badge of honor, like I'm busy. I'm a busy person, and this makes me important, and they're proud of it. Then we have the other group of people that's like, oh, life is so busy. Oh my God, I just wanted to stop being so busy. And they're like so tired of being busy, and life is busy. When does it slow down and stop being busy? So let's take an honest look at what is busyness actually. We've got the definition, but what is it? And why are so many people using this word to describe the state of their life and themselves? So first of all, I want to say this. Busyness is a state of mind. It's a mindset. It's not a circumstance. I need that to be absolutely clear here. It is not determined by a certain number of to-dos on your calendar, which is why the President of the United States, if he had 5 things to do on his to-do list, would be like, I'm not busy. But someone who's used to being a stay-at-home, take care of the house person, doesn't work full-time, having 5 activities on the calendar to do over the next week, that's busy. So really, what is busy then? It's not a circumstance. It's not a number of to-dos. It is a state of mind. The truth is, we can only be doing one thing at a time. And I know we think that multitasking is a thing, but really what multitasking is the inefficient switching back and forth of our brain from one task to another in which it can't ever fully engage. We're not productive. We're not fully involved or critically thinking in any of the activities that we're doing. We're just basically half-assing a bunch of stuff at the same time. That's multitasking. You're only doing one thing at a time. And I think the current research says it takes somewhere like 15 to 20 minutes for the brain to fully engage into a process when you switch from one process to another. So if you're multitasking and doing 5 things at once, you're never fully engaged in anything that you are doing. You're not tasking anything. You're just floating around back and forth from a bunch of different things that you're trying to do and not really doing any of them. But busyness is this. It's your mind jumping around to many different things that creates this busy feeling in your mind. Or it's your mind thinking about all of the things that you did recently or will be doing in the recent or in the near future, and how comparatively that number of things to do and or that you have done feels to you based on your story of the number of things you either think you should be doing or you think that other people are doing in comparison, or the number of things you're doing in comparison to another time in your life that you're thinking about. This is where busyness, that feeling, comes from. It is a mindset. It is a set of beliefs and thoughts. It is not a circumstance. Your life is not busy. Your mindset is one of busyness. And it brings about sometimes this thought, this belief of, I don't have enough time, that so often accompanies this busy feeling. And we use that to say why we're not getting the things done that are important to us, why we're telling people no to things that we say we want to do. I'm too busy, I don't have enough time. It's why I can't make it to my kids' baseball games. It's why I can't make it to my kids' piano recital. It's why I can't make it to see my relatives that I want to go see. It's why I can't schedule time for my friends that I wish I was spending time for. We use this busyness and not enough time as an excuse to live these very inauthentic, people-pleasing lives and just say I don't have time. You can see here that busyness becomes the brain's way of creating a coping mechanism almost, that puts the responsibility of our emotional experience, of our life, on the external circumstances. Our stress, our frustration, our anxiety, our fears are a result of circumstances in our life that we have no control over. We just don't have time, and we are busy. Our life is busy. We state it like it's a fact, like it's something that happens to us. The story becomes the brain's way of handling the responsibility of these feelings, or handing the responsibility of these feelings over to life circumstances, instead of truly examining them and finding where we are creating a story about our life that involves this busy feeling, this busy idea. And how this is creating these feelings within us. This is creating the story of not having enough time for the things that we kind of know are important to us, but we keep putting off. Busyness becomes a distraction from what is truly important to us, and keeping us stuck in this urgent and reactive state. It's a distraction from the existential questions that we are unsure about how to answer, so we avoid taking the time to examine them and to examine our lives and to examine our stories about ourselves and our lives, and we use it as a distraction to avoid critically thinking about these existential questions and critically thinking about what answers we could come up with to help us move forward in finding real solutions for them, into living a life of things that are truly important for us, instead of just a bunch of things that we're reacting to, a bunch of things that we're saying, ingenuine yeses to. Busyness becomes a distraction from our true emotional experience of our own lives. And in this case, busyness becomes something else too. It becomes yet another buffering or numbing device that I've talked about so many times. Often people use busyness as a way to numb their true emotional experience of their life. They don't want to know how they truly feel about themselves in their lives, because even if they slow down for a second and start to feel it, they panic. If they slow down enough to truly be in it and see what is actually going on and what they are creating in their life, they are terrified. And so busyness becomes a numbing agent to this. Busy becomes a way to avoid and numb. But remember what I've talked about this before when I did the 3-part series on emotional pain. Remember what numb actually means. It doesn't mean that the pain isn't there. It doesn't mean that the wound or the damage that's being created is not there. It means that we are tricking our brain into experiencing it in a different way than what is actually happening. This is what pain medication does with physical pain. It tricks our brain into processing the pain in a different way so we don't perceive it as a pain signal. But the pain, the damage that is causing the pain, is still there. The wound that is causing the pain is still there. The pain doesn't go away, we just trick our brains into experiencing it differently, and busyness has become the pain pill. Busyness has become the numbing agent. And in doing so, we never allow our wounds to heal and resolve. And most of the times, we are continually re-damaging and worsening the damage during the time that we're numbing ourselves and out there busying ourselves in our life. It's like if you can imagine someone with an injury to their knee, and they don't want to know that the knee is injured, so they take a pain pill. And then they continue to run and train on that knee and pretend as if there's no injury. No, I don't know. It doesn't hurt. It's fine. Totally fine. Pop another pain pill. No damage to that knee. And this is just because the experience of that knee doesn't feel like pain anymore due to the pain pills. As long as the pain medication does its job of changing the brain's interpretation of the pain, changing the signal, then it's like the pain isn't there. But guess what? It doesn't mean that the pain isn't present. It doesn't mean that the injury is not present. It doesn't mean that the damage is not continuing to be, exponentially increased by continuing to use that knee as if there is no injury, just because we've changed the signal. The pain is still there, the injury and the damage is still there, and the normal quote-unquote usage of the knee is contributing to more damage being done instead of the knee healing. The same thing happens with emotional numbing, my friends. I know we like to see it as being innocent, but it is not. We have emotional wounds that we are numbing ourselves to and going about our lives thinking that we're doing something so great by being able to numb and distract ourselves from the emotional damage. All of the while, it's still there. The pain is still there, and we're creating more and more damage on top of it and pretending like it doesn't exist. And our emotional reactivity, our emotional irresponsibility elevates and elevates and elevates, and we become these combustible beings that just like the tiniest trigger, and we react and explode all over everything around us with this emotional reactivity, and we don't think we know why. And then we go to the doctor for pills to numb that away. We self-medicate with food and with alcohol and TV and sex and shopping, etc. The list goes on, and busy to numb it away even more. And we go about this busy life of pretending that this damage and this pain doesn't exist, like somehow it's some honorable thing to do. And the damage gets dumped all over the people closest to us who are there when we can't hold the reactivity in anymore. Busyness becomes this other device. Busyness has become this way for us to externalize our value or worth. In a way, this becomes a numbing device here too. It's a distraction from our own internal dialogue about our worth in the world. We're distracting ourselves from owning our own reason of why we don't feel worthy because of how we see ourselves and talk to ourselves. And we externalize it with this busy story, this busyness. People use busy as a way to prove that they are important. They believe that being busy means that they're in demand and therefore important and therefore valuable. And this is both untrue and quite dangerous. It's not true because our importance and our worth does not come from other people needing us to do things for them. It doesn't come from us proving our worth by doing things in the world. Our worth is by design. It is non-negotiable. It cannot be diminished by not doing enough, and it cannot be increased by doing more. The things we do in this life are merely an expression of an already unconditionally known worth. It is not a way to earn more of it. Get that through your heads, my friends. It is not something you can earn by doing more. You are already as worthy as you are ever going to be, and you can't diminish it, and you can't make it any more by doing more. So stop. Stop the story. Most of us are out there being this busy being, busy person, this human doing as a way to prove our worth so we can earn, quote unquote, that feeling of worthiness that's based in this external validation of how busy we are and other people's recognition of it. The pat on the back, look at how busy you are. Look at how, oh, look, this person must be so important. They're so busy. We all buy into this story, and my friends, it's bullshit. And it's dangerous. It's dangerous because if busy is how you know if you're valuable and important, then guess what else happens? You begin trying, your objective is to fill your calendar with any and all suggested or proposed activities to keep up this illusion of busy. That will be your default mode. Keep the calendar full. This leads to filling your days with misaligned, inauthentic tasks that you are doing to serve your people-pleasing nature, to try and earn worth out there in the world. And these tasks don't serve our authentic life purpose, and oftentimes are things we are doing just to gain approval, in hopes that other people will look upon us favorably because we won't do it for ourselves. In hopes that other people will acknowledge our importance because we won't do it for ourselves. But we're not doing these things because we genuinely want to or because they serve any sort of authentic calling or purpose in our own life. We are doing it to try and earn value and worth that is already unconditionally determined by your design. You don't get to change it. I'm sorry, you don't. And what that means is that you are 1,000% worthy. You don't get to take any of that worth away, and you don't get to add to it. You don't get to add to it through external approval. You don't get to take it away because you think you don't have enough. When we do this, this leads us into this life that feels so reactive, so unfulfilling, so misaligned, so frustrating, so confused. We feel so lost and resentful. And like we're trapped in this cycle of doing things that we don't actually even want to be doing at all. All of the while feeling like we don't have time. We don't have time to acknowledge who we are. We don't have time to get to know ourselves. Much less to do anything that would be truly important to us. We don't have time for that. No, because we're too busy. I see so many people who are out there seeking this validation through the external world. And seeing this busy label as being a signal to others, this virtuous signal. We're virtue signaling each other of our importance and our value in the world because of how busy we are. And because of their mode of thinking is that busy means this important, this valuable, virtuous nature to us. So their incentive is merely just to keep their calendar full with anything and everything that is requested of them. They literally do not know how to say no to something that is requested of them that doesn't align with them or what is truly important to them, mainly because they want to appear busy. So this is just another thing to add to their list of to-dos to create this story and enforce it. And look at me, look at how busy I am, look at how important I must be. But also, they can't say no because they're so invested in feeling busy all the time, they haven't actually taken the time to know for themselves what would be truly important for them to say yes to. They don't even know what to say yes to anymore because they don't even know what aligns with them. They don't even know who they are. They think who they are is this busy character that they're out there playing, trying to be like, please give me some value and worth. The truth is, they don't even know if or what they want to say yes to anymore, or no to. So many people out there have distracted and numbed themselves from their own true desires for so long and thrown layer upon layer upon layer of false desire and quote-unquote busyness on top of their true desire that they don't even know how to recognize true desire anymore. And they've even confused their true desire with this panicked urge to appear busy and to people please anyone who requests something from them. They've confused this false desire of people pleasing with their true desire. This false desire to seek external validation. They've confused that as being their true desire because of how urgent it feels for them, because they don't know what's important anymore. But urgent, that feels important, right? No, it's urgent. There is a huge difference between urgency and importance, my friends. Importance aligns with purpose. Urgency aligns with a lack of purpose. Urgency aligns with, I have no clue what's going on in my life, but look at all of these fires going on here because I don't know what to do in my life, so everything is on fire. Urgency is not importance, my friends. People-pleasing is not a true desire. It isn't for anybody. I'm sorry. I don't care who you are. People-pleasing is never a true desire for anyone. People-pleasing is you choosing to not own your own worth and seeking it through what you perceive other people's perception of you to be. It is you choosing emotional childhood and emotional irresponsibility. It is you choosing to believe a story that your worth is conditional. And it is you choosing to not choose your own worth and to see it for yourself. So many people out here are seeking this external validation of their worth. It feels like the most important thing to them, but the truth is it's just the most urgent. Because they've been putting it off, putting it off, putting it off. Seeing their own true worth because they're waiting for someone else to tell it to them. Enough times that they will finally choose to believe it. And that's what's so crazy about this. In the end, you're the one who still has to choose to believe it, no matter how many people tell you. Which is why people can have millions of people tell them how worthy they are and still not believe it. And someone could have nobody tell them how worthy they are and believe how worthy they are. Because it has nothing to do with what anyone else thinks about you or says to you about you. The other sad part of this is that so many people out here doing this, they don't believe that without this urgent need, this feeling of this urgent need to people please and to prove their worth out there, that without that, they believe that they don't actually have any genuine or true desire. They have rejected their true desire for so long that they've forgotten how to feel the true desire and even believe that they don't have any anymore, or that they don't have any true authentic purpose or desires that align with it. My friends, this is so damaging to our physical health, to our spiritual health, to our mental health, to our emotional health. It is so damaging, my friends. This idea that busyness somehow proves our worth. This idea that busyness and people-pleasing is somehow the desire to go after in life. That's what we keep virtue signaling each other all over Instagram and Facebook about, look at how busy I am and successful. You should be too. If you're not successful, it's because you're not busying yourself enough. You're not hustling enough. You're not working hard enough. You're not doing enough things. I just want to mention this right here, especially for my friends in the USA. But really, in any country where capitalism abounds, where Christianity abounds, where actually a lot of religions abound, but especially Christianity, where capitalism and Christianity have a strong influence on the culture there, where capitalism and Christianity have a strong influence on the economy, then this will be true for you. So listen up, my friends. Listen. We have been socially programmed to believe that being productive, quote unquote, is morally worthy and virtuous. That being busy is equated to that idea of being productive and thereby virtuous. I want you to lean into that there and examine if this belief system is influencing you and choosing to live in this story of busyness and feel that almost addicted attachment to it, to this story of busy being who you are and proving your worth, and how much it plays a role in what you think you need to be doing in your life. Do you feel a sense of panic or fear or uncertainty or some unexplainable, uncomfortable sense of impending doom or outcome if you were to give up that cloak of busy? We have been virtue signaled our whole life to believe that somehow being busy is morally worthy and virtuous, and that busy people are more virtuous people, and that idleness is evil and lazy. And we're going to talk about that a bit later. But I just want you to begin to question. Begin to notice that you've been programmed to believe this by capitalism and a religion. Not by a spirituality, but by a religion, which is basically man's way of taking spirituality and putting a bunch of rules around it to try and control people. Capitalism and religion have influenced cultures all around the world to do this virtuing signal to each other of busy being virtuous. Busy meaning you are a morally upright and good person. How is busyness harmful to us? Let's take a look at that. How is it harmful to our health? And I'm talking physical, emotional, and spiritual. First of all, stress on our central nervous system. Busyness leaves this constantly elevated cortisol level. It elevates our hunger hormones as the body prepares to deal with this imagined danger that the busyness story tells our central nervous system. Our bodies are in this dysregulated nervous system. We are living, my friends, so many of us out there are living with these dysregulated nervous systems, and it's ravaging our bodies. We are in a constant state of fight, flight, or fawn. It's shortening our attention spans. I found this one to be really interesting when I was doing my research about busyness and some of its effects on us. Believe it or not, when we busy ourselves with so many things to do, and we have this story of how little time we have to do it, and in our mind we're jumping from one task to another, and while we're trying to do one thing, we're telling our brains, wait, we've got to think about the next thing we've got to do. Oh, think about the things that we've been doing, and look how busy we are. And our focus is never really in our present life. Our attention is constantly being bounced around by this busy story. And what we end up doing is literally training our brain to allow our attention span to shorten and its ability to maintain that attention to atrophy as the brain begins to believe that a prolonged attention span, it's just a waste of energy and time to maintain it. So literally, busyness programs us to shorten our attention span. And we wonder why social media apps like TikTok start to become so popular. Because we're literally programming ourselves to have the shortest attention spans possible. The next way this is harming us, stress on the body through inflammatory responses. We're causing damage to our cardiovascular systems. Men having heart attacks in their 30s because of stress, because of busyness. Women having issues with their reproductive organs, with their thyroids, with their digestive systems. Men having issues with their digestive systems because of stress from busyness. This story of busyness, of do, go, make, more. Destroying our gut health. As we're out there shoveling food in our mouths, we don't know why we're always so hungry all the time because of these stress responses. And most of the food is full of this crappy preservatives and hormones. And it's killing our gut flora, our natural gut flora, and destroying our gut health as well as our mental health. Because our gut flora is directly attached to our mental health. Did you know that the majority of the serotonin that your body produces is produced in your gut, not your brain? The hormone that tells you whether or not you should feel happy about your life, most of it is produced in your gut. And most of us are so busy out there numbing ourselves out with food and alcohol and even painkillers that we're just destroying the gut health, destroying our mental health. There's evidence linking this stress to autoimmune diseases. The constant busyness, it plays a huge toll on our physical body. And here's what's scary, is that it creeps up on us. We don't recognize it. We can so justify it. Oh, that's normal. That pain is normal. That's just part of being alive. I didn't realize how uncomfortable I was in my body until I really started taking care of myself and started feeling good. And I was like, how did I live like that for so long? I was in constant discomfort and pain in my body because my body was so inflamed and so stressed and so dysregulated, and I was so used to it. I had normalized it in my brain. I didn't even realize it anymore until I started taking care of myself, started being a human being instead of a human doing. And then I realized what it feels like to have a regulated central nervous system. Started feeling like what it feels like when my digestion is normal and my gut isn't constantly inflamed and screaming at me. Started feeling what it feels like to actually be hungry and to eat foods that nourish my body when I actually feel hungry, instead of just constantly gorging on food, trying to fill some need that I didn't know what I was trying to fill and get away from. And what's crazy, this creeps up on so much of us. And what's sad is that when the body finally says enough is enough and calls in the debt, so many of us are at a state where it's going to take so much serious time and attention to rest and bring the body back to a level of quote unquote normal functioning again. But we won't do it until it gets to that point, because we're being virtue signaled constantly. Stay busy. That makes you a good, valuable, and important person. I want you to, like I said, today is not a how-to guide. I want you to take a few things away from today. Here, the biggest things I want you to take away from today is, number one, busyness is not a badge of honor. It is not. It doesn't make you more important. It doesn't make your life feel more fulfilled. It doesn't mean that you're going to be happier with your life eventually. It doesn't even mean that you're getting important things done. And idleness is not bad, it's not evil, and it's not lazy. Capitalism and religious teachings have programmed us to believe somehow that idleness or stillness or not constantly doing is somehow less virtuous or even evil. And then when we talk about self-care, like we even stress about that. Oh, I need to be doing this, I need to be doing that, and I need to be doing this. Stop. You don't need to be doing anything. Just be with yourself. Have you ever just laid on the floor in the middle of your living room and done nothing? And let yourself hear the chaos going on inside of your head. And recognize that is the story of busyness. And it's only a story. It's only a thought. And it can play itself out in your brain while you lay there and do nothing. But capitalism and so many religious teachings have taught us somehow that this not doing is less virtuous or maybe even evil. Here's the thing. Here's what our culture is not telling us about idleness. And I want you to get this from today too. Time to do this, time for idleness, allows for so much real growth. It allows for joy. It allows for abundance. It allows for productivity, for creativity, for authenticity, and for fulfillment to abound in our lives. Idleness gives our mind a chance to be present and hear the story that we are telling ourselves and assess the truth of our lives. It gives us the time to find the truth in our stories that we're telling ourselves and where we are lying to ourselves and hiding our truths from ourselves, from showing up in this busy, busy life and distracting ourselves from that story. We get to know ourselves when we let ourselves be still. We get to know our truest desires in life. We get time to allow our mind to relax and heal and recalibrate from the stress, which gives us a greater ability and capacity to process information, emotions, create plans and solutions for authentic lives that work for us instead of us working for them. Idleness allows for us to learn presence, to be present enough to see what we can truly be grateful for in our life when we stop looking out there to compare and perform and prove our worth, to prove that our life has worth. You don't have to prove that, my friends. Idleness allows us to reconnect with ourselves and our bodies, to be able to hear the message coming from our bodies clearer, as well as the messages from our intuition and our higher selves that have been trying so hard to get through to us over this roaring scream of busyness and the story that goes along with it that we've all been living for so long. We can finally hear that message. We can finally hear what our bodies are asking for from us. Instead of just shoveling food and alcohol and more things in our mouth or in our eyes or in our ears, just trying to distract ourselves from the messages it's giving us to please slow down and love us. Idleness gives us the opportunity to create a new story, one of unconditional worth and love that is not based in this perceived external rating system of things that we're doing in life. Idleness gives us the chance to cultivate that unconditional worth and love for ourselves, and then we get to show up in the world and express it with joy and abundance and remind people around us to do the same. Idleness is not evil. Idleness is not lazy. Idleness is the most compassionate and necessary part of growth in our life. It is necessary for evolution. It is necessary for our spiritual connection and health to each other. It is necessary for us to evolve into our fullest potential. It's not a luxury that we earn. It is a necessary part of a fulfilling life that contributes to love and peace in this world, and to true growth and productivity in this world. So as I said, this is not how-to guide type of a podcast episode today. My main goal for you all today is that you begin to see that busy isn't a badge of honor. It's not a badge of importance. It's not this virtuous act that we've been taught. It's not a circumstance in your life. Busyness is a story of an inauthentic, unmanaged, unfulfilling life of conditional worth. I want you to begin to see that today. I want you to begin to open yourself to exploring that. I want you to begin to examine your own life and the ways in which this busyness story is showing up in your life. Where is it holding on tight in your belief systems? I want you to begin to examine the ways in which it might be causing you and your life damage and dysfunction and suffering. I want you to begin to consider if it's truly your authentic time to begin releasing the urge of busyness, to begin seeing that it is not a true desire of yours. It is a layer of false desire that you have been taught to believe is somehow virtuous or signals that you are important or good. I want you to release the distraction of busyness, the destruction of it. I want you to begin to consider how much you have to gain from learning how to be still in your own life and see it for its truest purpose, for the truest, most beautiful desires that you are here to create in this life that exist, but you can't even see them or recognize them anymore because you are covering them up with layer upon layer of false desire and busyness. I want you to begin to consider how much you have to gain from creating your most authentic and fulfilling life that comes from that space of being able to be still and recognize your unconditionalness and your worthiness. How much fulfillment can come from a life that is being driven by a clear vision of your truest desires and purpose in this life. I want you to think about how much you have to gain from that. And stop convincing yourself that you don't have time for this. It's the only thing you have time for until you've done it. Stop convincing yourself that it's not worth it. It's the only thing that is worth anything in your life because you are what is worth something in your life, and you are constantly rejecting yourself with the story of needing to be busy and prove your worth out there. Stop letting this lie control you in that way. I want you to see how much you have to gain from taking the time to be still in your life, finally. Let go of that story of needing to prove your importance and worth out there. I want you to feel that on the deepest level, what you have to gain from that, my friends. I want you to feel that. Don't think about it. Don't evaluate it. I want you to feel what it might feel like to live a life where you are at 100% peace with yourself and you know that your value is unconditional and you get to show up in this world and express that. Not work to prove it. Not be busy enough to prove it. That's what you have to gain here. And if that sounds like something you want, then I'm here for you. I'm here for you. If you're looking for that abundant, peaceful life of purpose and authenticity in which busy is no longer the qualifier of your worth or importance, you can begin that process today. It's really just a matter of choice. And I know so many people out there will tell you so many stories about why it's not just a matter of choice. It is a journey, but it starts with a choice. I'm here to help you or anyone find your path forward into that life. And I'd be excited to do so. But the point of this episode is that I want you to begin considering this. Is that the life you want? Getting rid of this story of busy and how that qualifies you to be important in this life, that's going to be your first step. Seeing the truth behind that story and releasing it and looking towards your authentic purpose in this life, your truest desires in this life, and being still in your life enough to see and hear those. That's going to be the first step. And I'm here to help anyone find their path forward into that. But my friends, that's what I have for you all today. That's what I want to share with you. I wanted to share with you all what this busy story is, what it truly is. Start peeling back the layers of this lie for you guys. It's not a virtuous thing. If anything, it's keeping most of us spiritually dehydrated. We think somehow it's a virtuous act to be busy, but it's really starving our spiritual health. It's starving our emotional and physical health. It's not virtuous in any way, shape, or form. And idleness is not evil. It's not lazy. I want you to begin to consider this. And that's what I have for you all today. That's what I want to make clear today, my friends. Busyness is not a circumstance. It is a story you are telling yourself that surrounds the idea of you needing to prove your worth, you needing to earn your worth. And that is not true. And I want everyone here to have the opportunity to see that and release that story. That's what I have for you all today. I love you all so much. And I wish you all the most peaceful and unbusy end to this week. Remember, the busy is not a circumstance. It is not a badge of honor. Release the story. I wish you the most unbusyness into the end of this week and until we meet again here next week. Ciao. Hey, thank you for listening in this week. I hope you enjoyed the content of this episode. If you did, please subscribe or follow this podcast to receive the newest episodes every week as I bring them to you here on the Connect Your Health to Life coaching channel. Ratings, reviews, and comments are always appreciated. These allow me to know more of what my listeners would like in the podcast and allow for more people who may be searching for a podcast just like this one to find the Connect Your Health to Life coaching channel. If you would like more information about me and the work that I do with my clients one-on-one, then please visit my website at www.slch.ch. Again, that is www.slch.ch. You can also find me on social media on Instagram at SethLusk_coaching. Again, that is SethLusk_coaching. And on Facebook in my free Facebook group community called A Healthy Life Connection. We would love to have you in the group, and it's only 3 membership questions that you have to answer to join. And again, it's entirely free. And if you need any further information or just want to say hello, feel free to send me an email directly at slusk.health@slch.ch. Again, that is slusk.health@slch.ch. Thank you again so much for listening, and I look forward to our next time together. Ciao.